Welcome back, Truth Seeker. I want to read this article and then I want to reveal the magical timing. RFK Jr. claims new research effort will find cause of autism epidemic by September. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has launched a massive testing and research effort involving hundreds of scientists worldwide that will determine what has caused the autism epidemic by September, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said Thursday, that's today, April 10th, 2025. But experts expressed doubt that the research would be done in good faith, given Kennedy's history of linking autism and jabs or pokey dokes, despite strong evidence that the two are not connected. And it's sad that we live in this age where you can't even say the VACCINE word without risk of being taken down, even while reading a news article, because big tech does not respect free speech. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world, he told President Donald Trump in a cabinet meeting. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures. The president responded that there will be no bigger news conference than that, suggesting there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. Rates of autism in the U.S. have been rising to about 1 in 36 children being identified with autism spectrum disorder in 2020, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Kennedy suggested Thursday that the newer numbers may show they're going up again to about 1 in 31. In 2000, the rate was 1 in 150. Researchers who study autism say that the rates are on the rise for a few reasons, including increased awareness, broader definitions of what constitutes autism, improved screening tools and processes, and earlier detection. Its cause isn't fully understood, but factors including genetics as well as advanced parental age, prenatal exposure to air pollution, or certain pesticides and other environmental influences are thought to play a role. What doesn't? VACCINES. And I just want to remind people that big tech in 2012 deleted tens of thousands of videos from the internet of parents giving their testimony to, again, almost all of them had the same story. What happened to their children around age 2 when they got the MMR pokey doke and how their children radically changed. Behavior, no longer being anywhere near normal, etc., etc. No longer responding to the parents, a radical change. So many people with the same story. And I can tell you who else can tell you that story is yours truly, because I used to manage an autistic children's home, and every child in that home that still had contact with their parents all had the same similar story, the same one that social media companies purged from the internet in 2012. And again, it was that very thing that made me decide to start speaking out on social media about things I was aware of, because I saw the age of free speech was rapidly dying. And I get so sick of reading these authoritarians who are always highly corrupt and misleading and covering up the truth, say things like, what doesn't? VACCINES. Okay, when pretty much all the evidence out there is just the exact opposite. No link has been found between autism and VACCINES, including those containing thimerosal, a mercury-based compound. Don't forget when Trump declared himself the father of the jab on Mercuralia, May 15th, 2 years to the day of the first simulation for the scandemic, which was also on May 15th, Mercuralia. Again, that's where they simulated rushing out jabs that did a lot of damage to the population. Then that simulation became a reality. But if you listen to the media and the authorities, they'll tell you, no, it's not true. It was safe and effective, and it saved millions of lives. Meanwhile, all these people have myocarditis, turbo cancer, are in the dirt, didn't have cooties 19 until shortly after getting the pokey doke. Those people are everywhere too. Those testimonies are everywhere too, and the media acts like they don't exist. They just keep saying safe and effective. That's why I can't believe anybody goes to the media for any real information, because all it is lies and propaganda all day, every day. Including those containing thimerosal, a mercury-based compound, according to the National Institute of Environment Health Sciences, part of the National Institutes of Health. Yet, Trump seemed to offer an implication about where Kennedy's massive testing and research effort could lead. If you can come up with that answer, where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, he told Kennedy on Thursday, but something's causing it. Kennedy's history of anti-jabbing advocacy is well documented, and despite pre-confirmation promises to Senator Bill Cassidy, the Republican doctor who helms the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, that he wouldn't dismantle the U.S. system for approving and monitoring the safety of VACCINESs, Kennedy's actions as the nation's top public health official have done little to suggest a change in viewpoints. It's funny because I remember him endorsing the MMR shot by the numbers on April 7th. Kennedy directed the CDC to study I almost said it, the word you're not supposed to. I was saying vacuums, Google. Sorry, I got interrupted saying vacuums. Kennedy directed the CDC to study vacuums. Isn't that what that word is? Vacuum cleaners. And autism last month. Despite the agency's own research showing no link, under his watch, the top vacuum regulator, I think that's going to be the new word from now on. Tribute to my mom, grew up cleaning houses. That's the new word around here. Instead of jabs and pokey dokes, they're now called vacuums. The top vacuum regulator at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, Dr. Peter Marks, was forced out, writing in his resignation letter that Kennedy wishes subservient confirmation of his misinformation and lies, and the department has hired as a senior data analyst David Geyer, a self-proclaimed autism expert who published a since-retracted paper with his father, Mark Geyer, purporting to show links between vacuums and autism. Kennedy has also downplayed a fast-growing measles outbreak centered in West Texas that has killed 2 vacuumless children. By the way, Jesuit run HBO, they've introduced measles as a major plot point by the numbers on their hit show The Pit, where the new episode's out tonight, and I guarantee you it's all about measles, because that was the big cliffhanger last week. Young boy's on the verge of dying from measles because his mom didn't get the vacuum for the measles. Asked Thursday on Fox News about the child who died of measles last week, Kennedy claimed that she had a lot of complications that could have killed her, although the Texas Health Department has noted that neither child had any previously reported underlying conditions. Kennedy added, "We need to do better at treating kids who have the disease and not just saying the only answer is vacuums." And although Kennedy this week gave his strongest endorsement yet of the MMR vacuum, telling CBS News, "We encourage people to remember the actual spelling for MMR vacuum equals 47, and he endorsed it on 47 News by the numbers, and just wait till we get to the cliffhanger for this one. We encourage people to get the measles vacuum." He also lauded doctors in Texas who are providing treatment, including, what's that word? Buzanide, a steroid typically used for asthma, and the antibiotic clarithromycin. Dr. Adam Ratner, a pediatric infectious disease specialist in New York City who wrote a book about measles and responded to the city's major 2019 outbreak, told CNN this week, "These are not treatments for measles. The thing that stops a measles outbreak is vacuums, which is also the thing that prevents the measles outbreak from happening in the first place." You know, there was an age when people didn't get shots for measles and pretty much no one had autism. At Thursday's cabinet meeting, Kennedy claimed that measles cases in the U.S. have now plateaued, despite them growing by between 19% and 36% a week in Texas over the past month, with new outbreaks popping up in Indiana and Ohio. And he said, "We're trying to refocus the press on," you know what's funny about Indiana and Ohio? They both equal 47, like MMR vacuum. And he said, "We're trying to refocus the press on the chronic disease epidemic, the first citing children with diabetes before moving to autism." Kennedy doubled down on Fox News, claiming the previous vacuum study. Sorry, Google. Sometimes I mispronounce vacuum. Vacuum safety studies were insufficient. "We're going to look at facts," he said. "We're going to look at everything. Everything is on the table. Our food system, our water, our air, different ways of parenting, all the kind of changes that may have triggered this epidemic." HHS Director of you know what? I'm about to run out of space on my phone, and I'm not going to save the video because I'll let you read the rest of the article. I'm going to jump to the cliffhanger. Remember, when RFK Jr. filed his paperwork to run, it was April 5th, 2023, exactly 144 days after the Superior General's birthday. And remember, his father died at 1:44 a.m. on June 6, 1968, and his uncle died 144 days from meeting with the Pope, dying on November 22nd, 63, after meeting with the Pope on July 2nd. So how many days do you think we are from September? Yeah, September starts in 144 days. Look at that. April 10th to September 1st, 144 days. Remember, in Gematria, Kennedy curse equals 144, as does Jesuit order. Again, if you're new here, the practice of coding numbers into words, known as Gematria, it comes from Kabbalah. It's very important. The Jesuits came out of suppression in history 144 days after James Madison's birthday, when he was the sitting president. A lot of people think he was an agent of Europe, where the Jesuits came from. The United States of America also equals 144. You can see that Kennedy curse and Jesuit order both equal 54, as does Dealey Plaza, as does Ambassador Hotel. Consider that Kennedy got in the race 144 days after the Jesuit leader's birthday on the 5th day of the 4th month, etc., etc. That same number is all over the helicopter thing today, too, in the Hudson River. You can see how Jesuit order has the 153, 72, 144, 54. Look at Hudson River. If you missed the short video on what happened there, that tragedy, you can check that out. But Hudson River's got the 153, 144. So anyway, it just couldn't be the vacuums. That's why they had to censor all the parents on the internet telling the same story. You just think like again, the news media is supposed to be non-opinionated. Like, why doesn't a journalist look into that? All the parents that got censored, all the parents that exist today that could tell the same story. How come there's no paragraph in here to say, on RFK Jr.'s side of the argument, it is true that in the age where people didn't get shots for the measles, nobody had autism, To me, that's a pretty strong argument. Does that mean definitively that's what it is? No, it doesn't. But to act like there's no evidence out there, that's a total steaming load and a massive lie. Until next time, Truth Seeker.